So the narrative about the illegal mining is now changing a little bit. So I can see this narrative that the NGO in South Africa were trying to play out, even though they went to court in South Africa and they could not prove that these people were starved because the police told us they were giving them food. And there was a video online of their kingpin who was beating them and abusing them and refusing to give them food in a way to blackmail the police. They were blackmailing police and starve these people to death themselves. And in fact, to say they were starved to death is actually hasn't been proven because the police told us that these people, some of them had injuries that are unexplained. So
the numbers 78 declared deceased, 166 in the operation started on Monday. Confirm for us.
Well, a very good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. As confirmed, by 1:30 this afternoon, we are sitting at 166 alive illegal miners that have been retrieved from underground, that have been immediately placed on arrest. Sitting at 78 that have been certified deceased as of Monday. So I did provide a breakdown to say with the start of the operation on the first day, there were 5 trips that were made with the cage, and we were sitting at 9 bodies and 27 26 that were arrested. On day 2, we were sitting at 17 trips with the cage. We had 106 arrested. We had 51 that were certified as deceased. So as of 1:30 this afternoon, we are sitting at 34 arrested for day 3. And we are then sitting at 18 that have been certified as deceased. So operations are ongoing. No major challenges have been experienced, and we continue with the operation.
Talk to us also about the investigations that you as the police are still ongoing with. You touched on the issues of kingpins. You also touched on issues of allegations of assault, abuse, considering the number of footages that we have been seeing that are emerging from underground.
Our concern as the police is that when you look at how the health status of these illegal miners, it is quite concerning that they look malnourished, and that doesn't with the so we are looking into allegations that there were kingpins underground that were keeping food away from these illegal miners. We are also investigating allegations of torture and abuse underground, because some of them, when they resurface with marks all over. There have been videos that have surfaced showcasing illegal miners being allegedly tortured by those that are underground. We're also then focusing on allegations that the majority of them were brought here under false job opportunities, and they were not given a clear picture of what would transpire underground. So we are looking for the kingpins, and we believe those are the people that should be held accountable for the deaths of these illegal miners. We are looking for them. We are aware that there were kingpins that were with them underground. So we're just following up that information, some already in our custody.
You also talked about, that 2 people so far, you'll correct me, that their families has been able to identify. Talk to us about that process and working together with other stakeholders as bodies are coming sent to mortuaries and that.
Well, the challenge that we are having in terms of the body identification is that the majority of those that have been arrested and have been certified as dead are illegal in the country. They're undocumented, so that poses a major challenge. So we are relying on family members to come forward to identify their family members. Another challenge, though, is that some of the bodies were decomposed, some were mostly bones. So it is that process of identification, DNA, and so on. But with the DNA identification, obviously you would need to compare it with other DNA and so on. So if a person is not identifiable, it makes it quite difficult for the police to conduct and that particular operation. But yes, we do have 2 bodies that have already been claimed and identified by their families. And on the issue of, we had 4, right? 4 that were arrested on possession of gold-bearing material. So when they are retrieved, they are all inspected, they are processed, we have metal detectors where we are trying to detect if they come up with gold-bearing material. 4 since Monday have been arrested for being in possession of gold-bearing material.
And with regards to the families having to come and identify and claim those that have deceased, you are saying that it's a challenge because some of them are here undocumented. Does that mean you are in contact with your counterparts in countries like Mozambique? Some of those that are arrested here are from Mozambique, from Zimbabwe, in assisting with that process of identifying, claiming, and ensuring. Also, we're beginning to see documents that speaks death certificate and postmortem reports indicating the names of those people and the cause of death.
Absolutely. This particular operation is being led by the nut joints, and at the nut joints, various government departments, all government departments are represented. So all government departments are following up with their various mandate and responsibilities. So we are in contact with other countries to assist us in this particular operation. We are working together with DERCO, we are working with Home Affairs, and so on this particular operation.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, they were marks. Those who survived, who got out there eventually. It's not about those who survived. Even to say those who survived, those who were smoked out of that hole, they got out and they told the police what happened down there. There were a couple of them who were getting out voluntarily. And obviously those who were smoked out using those equipment out of that were those kingpin who were there. And the police sent a video in those 2-kilometer deep down mine shaft. And we saw that video that the police showed in one of the independent news media of these kingpin abusing them. The idea that the police wanted them to die, it's ridiculous. It is the lie that was spread by these NGO. I mean, at this point, I think this NGO, they need to deregister all of them. Deregister all of them, send them back to where they came from. Because I've had a look at all of them. Majority of them comes from these countries that don't have even human rights, like UAE and all of them. Some of them come from America. So deregister all that crap. I mean, it's time you have people that actually are there to work with the government, not to work against the government. I mean, the people who are now recommending that they should have artisan mining and allow people to go and do artisan mining. Have you actually seen how artisan mining has damaged Ghana's environment? The water in Ghana is dark due to artisan mining.
While legal mining is subject to environmental regulations, that's not the case for illegal mining, locally known in Ghana as galamsey. Ghana's gold exports were expected to reach $10 billion in 2024. Small-scale miners make up about 40% of Ghana's total gold output. About 70 to 80% of small mines are unlicensed.
20% of gold produced around the world is from those small-scale sources, whereas the small-scale mining is often very informal. There is a lot of illegal activity.
Small-scale miners dig shallow holes across acres of land near bodies of water without refilling holes after the gold is extracted. Mercury, often used to extract gold, can leak into the water. More than 60% of Ghana's freshwater sources are contaminated by chemicals and toxins from illegal gold mining.
This is the Butri River. 2 years ago, it was very clean and pristine. And this is the effect of galamsey on our water bodies. It's very devastating.
When you look at Google Earth and you look at a map of Ghana, you will see that a vast majority of the territory is no more green, but it's more brown. So in terms of pollution, not on the different river, but also for the farming, it has been a disastrous impact.
In October, hundreds marched in Ghana's capital, Accra, calling on authorities to end the practice of illegal mining. Yao Mwafo, a small-scale miner operating legally, says he's been in the business for a decade and employs around 24 people. He says his business and those like it are caught in the crosshairs of this fight.
It's ridiculously dark. It's destroyed that country's environment because the artisan mining, they don't care about environment. Even when the police told us that they couldn't send people down there because their investigation has found out these people were using dangerous chemicals to actually attract the gold. To attract the gold, they were using chemicals that were banned and chemicals that were toxic. So they had obligation to their workers, to the healthcare worker, not to send them in harm's way. Which country would be able to do that? Those who are out there who were saying, oh, police, tell me, how were you going to do it in your country? I would like to know how you were going to do this saga of illegal people that were not invited, were not sent there to work. They were trespassing, doing these illegal activities that they do in some countries. Of those people who were arrested, only less than 2% were South Africans. Less than 2%. And you got all these people who say people don't have work, unemployment is higher. Where? What is the sign that shows that it is because of unemployment in South Africa that leads to these people doing this? In South Africa, people unemployed are given benefits, are given unemployment benefits. So that argument is actually been thrown out with this statistics that the police has provided. All of them were illegals. Only 21 were South Africans. Of those, nearly 2,000 of them. Oh, please, come on now. This madness of ANC, we're here because of 1994. All these problems in South Africa started from 1994. Okay, I'm so encouraged to see that Herman Mashaba realizing that this constitution was meant to protect law-abiding citizens, not criminals.
Just quickly in conclusion, Steilfontein mine and what's happening there. I'd like to hear your views around this. I was seeing yesterday, even while the focus was on this merger between Action SA and Forum for Service Delivery, some people saying that what is currently taking place in Steilfontein, and responding to you actually, is that it's so much reminiscent of the Lily Mine tragedy, but unfortunately with the Lily Mine tragedy, the bodies have still not been retrieved. Whereas with Steilfontein, we are seeing that the bodies are being retrieved. As party leader of Action SA, what do you read into this? And do you still believe that there's a possibility to retrieve the bodies of the mine workers of Lily Mine who still remain?
Aldrin, the Lily Mine, it's actually one of the most brutal human rights violation of the three families. I think we've got to be ashamed of ourselves, all 60 million South Africans. Honestly, we must take responsibility for this, because three innocent, hardworking, law-abiding citizens woke up, were going to work, and within hours went down the belly of the earth. And has South Africa taken interest in this matter, including our own government lying to us that container could not really be retrieved? On the 5th of this month, in just 2-3 weeks' time, we are planning actually the 9th anniversary of that tragedy, where, as you are aware, in October 2023, the Mbombela Magistrate Court came out with a judgment that all those who are responsible must be criminally charged. Mine management for negligent mining, because this mining company received 2 reports 2 years before the collapse of the mine, that what you guys are doing, it's really very dangerous. So the court says they must be criminally charged, the mine management. The court made a judgment that police who frustrated the families and harassed them, they must be criminally charged. Senior members of the Department of Minerals and Energy who covered this matter must be criminally charged. Here is it, it's what now, over a year later, or 18 months, the NPA literally is refusing to prosecute. They are in defined of a court judgment. And I really find it really very difficult that South Africans, the last month or so, we've been focusing on criminalities, saying criminals must be assisted. And my personal view and the view of HNSA is that it doesn't matter, did not really make sense. These miners at Steilfontein, when they voluntarily, actually, they're coming into our country, some of them illegally. And I find it really very strange that we're a country that when we adopted our constitution in 1996 was to protect the criminals, not law-abiding citizens, which is really very unfortunate. And that's something that I am in politics, and some of us are in politics, to say, is this constitution and the human rights for criminality? Is it not for law-abiding citizens? So I have personally gotten no sympathy whatsoever, more especially looking at what this country.
Were dead.
Are we? Do we have sympathy for the three law-abiding citizens?
You can have sympathy for both.
No, I don't have sympathy for criminality.
So let's listen to ATM spokesperson. ATM, Africa Transformation Movement, is another centre-right party. You know, in South Africa, the centre-right party don't call themselves centre-right. They call them progressive forces. I don't know why. But anyway, ATM is also another one right-leaning party in South Africa. The spokesperson was interviewed talking about these issues of illegal miners. So let's hear his perspective.
Actually shook me there. But let's hear from Mr. Nshona. Mr. Nshona, if you can hear me, there's no doubt that this tragic situation has exposed the human cost of illegal mining. What do you think drives people to take such dangerous risks, knowing the potential consequences?
Thank you so much. Good day to you and the viewers. Well, for the African Conservation Movement, we believe that truly the challenges that are faced by people drive them to make such decisions. Maybe the issues of inequality, the issues of poverty, the issues of a lack of employment. But though I feel in the South African context, more than just that, it is the creation of a conducive environment by the current government that allows people to actually come. When you do not mend your borders, people can just cross over whenever they please. And you do not monitor the rehabilitation of these mines and the closure of these mines. And there is a market out there that is ready to take minerals from this country. You have created a conducive environment where individuals can actually participate and knowing that they could gain from this. So from a South African perspective, even though that there is prevalence of poverty, unemployment, and all of these things in the African continent, but also I believe it is the dismal failure of the government that has created a conducive environment for people to see South Africa as a haven of looters who saw it prudent to come to South Africa. And those who may have actually abdicated their responsibility to actually acquire the minerals in a legal way, and they then create alternative markets, and therefore the demand is there, the environment is conducive, the enforcement is not there, and that actually drives people towards such practices which are illegal.
Okay, now back to you.
So another thing that he didn't mention in that video is that where is this gold going to? Who is benefiting from this? So the benefit of this, it's sorry, but it's a lot of the Western society that are benefiting from this. The gold, how it's mined, it comes from these countries illegally. So South Africa is losing a lot of money from this illegal mining of gold, because gold prices has really skyrocketing, if you haven't noticed that. So yeah, so they've come up, obviously in other countries that they were mining this gold, there's not enough of that. They're now trying to come down to South Africa, but in South Africa there's laws. You're not going to come to South Africa and try to mine the gold and dig a hole that nobody's going to come out. The police is not going to come out and stop you from doing that. Hopefully this be a lesson for all of those wannabe illegal miners, that you don't come to our country, South Africa, and try to commit this heinous crime, and then police will just ignore you. You are coming to trespasses in the mine that you don't owe, that you don't work at. It's illegal. It's illegal. Okay? You cannot just do that in South Africa. In other countries, they've been able to do it. And in South Africa, they've been able to do it and get away with it. Some of those criminals, they've been able to do it because we know that Treasury has lost a lot of money through this lawlessness of the crime that committed by people who are exploiting, poor immigrants from neighboring countries to bring into South Africa to do this stuff. Now, the gold that's illegal, that's been mined elsewhere in Africa, where it goes to UAE. UAE has blood on its hand. This gold goes to them. Then they start, try to, make it a usable gold that you would see, nice looking gold. And then they would then export that gold to Switzerland. Okay? From Switzerland, that gold goes to America. You got it to America. So, when it gets to America, they don't say that gold comes from Congo. It says that the gold from Switzerland. And you ask yourself, do they have mines in Switzerland? No, they don't. So why? Why are they having gold there? Why don't you ask yourself how they get gold? You see? So I think as consumer, we all have to ask this question: how this gold is sourced. We need to know where it's sourced. We don't want to know where the gold was, made to be beautiful and looking how it is, the final product. No, we want to know the originator, the source of this gold, where it's coming from. We demand to know. So I, as a consumer, can make that decision. Do I want to fund this thing that leads to death of many people in Africa? Do I want to contribute to it? As a consumer, it's my right. I need to know that. And I think they need to start doing this. Now, let's have a look at this clip and I'll come back and comment a bit more.
The City of Gold also plays a critical role and is home to more than 20 gold refineries and 7,000 traders in precious metals and stones.
If you want to avoid having gold from the DRC linked to conflict, or in Sudan, or for Mali, or for Zimbabwe, the majority of this illegal gold is exported to the UAE, and from the UAE, a large part of it is also exported to Switzerland, and then from Switzerland, we know that a huge part of gold is also exported to the US. But when it's imported in the US, the majority of the importer will just say, a gold from Switzerland, refined in Switzerland. The origin of this gold will just be Switzerland. But this gold, which is sometimes presented as recycled gold, can be gold which was 2 weeks before in a mine controlled by a jihadist group, by a Wagner group, or by other criminals.
Gold exports from Ghana more than doubled between 2012 and 2022, from 243 metric tons to 609 metric tons.
Yep. So all of this stuff, 50 plus kids dead because being poisoned allegedly by food sold by illegal immigrants in South Africa. All of this stuff, 78 plus illegal minors dead. It's all related to border, failure to secure the border. It's all related to governmency. So these GNU partners that have allowed themselves to continue the failed ANC policy, it's baffling me. I mean, it's baffling. It's baffling that of those 58% of the voters that voted, nearly 58% of them did not vote for ANC. ANC got 40.18%. So why are these GNU partners continuing the same looting incompetence of the ANC? This is really incompetence of governance, poor governance. The fact that they've allowed this CEO, these companies to abandon the mine without securing them and allowing these people to come in through the border. How 1,000 people came in through the border. And on top of that, they are now rewarding them with registering of their kids who are illegal in South Africa. And subsequently, one of the schools in Pretoria, it's now full. 60% of those kids, public school that are registered this year, are all undocumented children. Make sense to me. So with that, it's a reward for those illegal migrants who come into South Africa. There is something for them to gain for trying to come to South Africa, even taking a journey crossing to an infested crocodile river in Limpopo to come to South Africa. There is an incentive for them. So when I said to Dr. Leon Schreiber earlier that the deportation is not going to do anything, because the BMA has told us, the Border Management Authority in South Africa, have told them that sometimes when they deport these people, they come back. 3 or 4 times, one person will be deported and the next afternoon they try to come back again. So the people will keep trying because there is an incentive for them. They were lured, some of them were lured for the job. And you wonder, why would people think that they would get a job over the South African citizens, who the unemployment right now is around 60% for youth and 30-something for others? So why would you think the employer in South Africa would actually will undermine the labor laws and employ them and pay them good amount, enough money for them to survive in South Africa, unless they're being exploited, which we see this, it's exploitation of them. So people were out there allowing these people to continue to come to South Africa. They are treasonous. This is treasonous behavior. I'm sorry, this is treasonous. You cannot say you're patriotic about your country and allow this lawlessness to continue and people to be exploited in such manner. Some of them dead. You see, 78 of them illegal miner dead. We don't know the circumstances that led to their death, because the investigation hasn't finished yet, because they still have to evaluate them, see how they died, what's the cause of death. So people are out there spreading stuff within the corporate media, the biggest, spreader of misinformation and disinformation. Because, the police officer, you've had them, they were talking about some of the injuries they've noticed to these illegal miners. They were able to smoke them out of that hole, and they came out and they saw them. Some of them had some, injuries that, when explained by just people living rough, and also they were sending food there. Why would they be malnourished if they were sending food? So it's something, very inhumane that these people are committing towards their fellow citizens. This is Pan-Africanism at its play. That's how it works. That's how slavery started. People selling their own people to do this. This is what it started. This is how it started, with this exploitation of people from neighboring countries by their own citizens that are bringing them over to South Africa to do this heinous act of crime. This is not the only crime they commit. There's so many of them. If I were to do a video of them, it would be like a longer one. You probably guys won't even watch it. But it is quite extraordinary that these people are doing to their own fellow countrymen, to their own people. Okay? Yeah. Anyway, this video is going to be quite long. Thank you guys for listening. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Until next time, have a lovely day. Bye for now. Lekker dag. Bye.